This has got to be one of the coolest things I have ever experienced. So about 2 years back, Square Enix published a game called Triangle Strategy. It's a tactical role-playing game developed in the iconic HD 2D style, received great critical acclaim, and is generally a beloved game by fans. Well, now they have a brand new way to play it, and I am so impressed. I went in with my doubts, but they blew them all away. I want to thank Square Enix for sponsoring today's video, and sending us this MetaQuest 3 so that we can play Triangle Strategy VR. Now, I know what you were thinking. Triangle Strategy in VR? How does that work? And it's easy to go in with some skepticism. However, when you play it, it is absolutely mind-blowing. Starting off with one of the coolest features that you can imagine is the extended reality feature. The XR setting allows you to essentially overlap reality with the game, so that you have like this chessboard right in front of you that you're moving and manipulating around, and you can also see your surroundings. So it's kind of like the game is overlaid on top of reality, and it's a very cool and very immersive feature. As you can see here, I'm sitting in my living room using it. It's also very cool for the story mode too, because whenever you're viewing the story scenes, now I have maybe an 80-inch TV, I forget the exact number of inches it is, but it's a very big TV. And through the perception of the eye, the screen that I'm looking at Triangle Strategy on is even bigger than that. But it's more than just that, it's also your ability to rotate the board and see different angles. You know, it's kind of like being this giant looking down at this diorama of these little characters. And it's a fun and really interesting experience. But it also adds this layer of immersion that I haven't seen in anything else before. Now, I'm a noob to VR, maybe I'm easily impressed. However, just playing this, my imagination immediately went wild with all the stuff that you could probably do with, you know, the HD 2D style games or anything else in this style. It's really impressive. Of course, you can also play with the traditional VR mode where it's just taking up all the reality, the complete 360 of your vision. And this is also a great way to play. Now, I know in my footage, you're probably thinking a lot of this looks wonky. It looks like the camera is kind of like everywhere. Whenever you have the VR headset on, I promise you that it's not actually like that. One of the things I kind of noticed in my footage is that it may look like I'm up a little too high, or the camera angle may look a little weird. That's kind of because it doesn't really get your peripheral vision all the way. And so as a result, that doesn't really translate 100% to the footage. That being said, whenever you're seeing and experiencing it, it is incredible. Just being able, again, to manipulate the board just by using the side buttons here to kind of turn it. It's a really neat experience. It gives you different angles and allows you to appreciate the wonderful HD 2D art of the game. Now, normally whenever you think about VR games, you think about someone flailing around, going across the room, bumping into things. And this is something that is honestly absolutely nothing like that. You're able to really comfortably sit at your desk and play this game. The controls are also something that I found personally to be just immaculate. There's this really cool feature in the game where you're able to look at your left wrist at any time during combat, and you can use that to see the turn order and who's going next. And so this allows you to strategize. A lot of the HD 2D effects and the style also translates really well to VR. This game has a really nice 3D effect to it that you can't really see in the footage, but it makes everything look much more beautiful than it would on a normal screen. In fact, the game is so beautiful and so gorgeous, and the way you're able to get so many different angles of the action, I sometimes find myself distracted by messing around with the camera angles and looking at the game in different ways. Now, of course, you're able to use the pointer in order to navigate menus, but thankfully, you don't have to use the pointer for everything. If you want to, you can always use the analog stick on the MetaQuest controller, which gives you some options on how you want to approach navigating them. And I think that both the analog stick and the pointer both work pretty well. So for those that aren't quite familiar with Triangle Strategy, this is a turn-based strategy game where you're moving your different characters through a grid and strategizing on how to beat the enemy. If you're a big fan of turn-based RPGs, then this is the perfect game for you. It has an insane amount of voice acting, which allows it to be incredibly more immersive in VR. And there is a much deeper appreciation of the HD 2D style whenever you can see it at all these different angles in a very very 3D virtual reality space that, again, I know is so hard to really feel if you don't have the headset on. This is one of those things you just have to take my word for. Really impressed, and all I could think of after I played this was, I really hope that they make more VR RPGs like this, because the experience for me is like nothing else I've ever had. So be sure to check out Triangle Strategy VR with a link in the description and pinned comment below. If you have a MetaQuest 3, this game is an absolute must buy. And if you don't have a MetaQuest, get one and try this game out. I promise you, you will walk away with the same type of experience that I had, feeling just so immersed in the game in a way that just playing it on a screen could never quite hold up to. So be sure to check it out and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will see you all in the next video. Later, guys.